I think it's very far. Very far. You said you were accurate, but what's the time difference? Alright, let me introduce the two earthquake predictions in detail. Could you first tell us something about the earthquake that happened in Japan in 1977? Yes, after our research passed a certain period, I could successfully predict three elements. First one was the epicenter. Second was the occurrence time, and third was the occurrence magnitude for close earthquakes. The earthquakes that occurred near my station and for teleseisms, which occurred far away from my station. And then I could figure out the difference between both of them. Well, how about the Japanese earthquake? In the afternoon of December 20th, 1977. I made a phone call to the shock prevention office under the headquarters of the General Staff and forecasted that there would be an earthquake in Ogasawara Isles, Japan, at 5:35 a.m. the next day on December 21st. Its magnitude would be 6.8 plus or minus 0.5 on the Richter scale. The result was an earthquake of magnitude 6.5 that occurred in the Ogasawara Isles at 9:06, December 21st, 1977. Very accurate, right. The magnitude was 6.5. The magnitude 6.9 was reported abroad. The magnitude 6.8, which I reported, was between 6.5 and 6.9. The epicenter was just in the Ogasawara Isles of Japan. Oh, so you can predict it so accurately, even though it's so far away. That's what I said. That 20 years ago, we could predict three elements of earthquakes, including teleseisms, very successfully. Now, there is another example. Yeah, the earthquake in Alaska, USA. All right, let's talk about that one. From April 3rd to the 9th, 1978, I attended the Achievements Exchange meeting on earthquake and geology in Tongxian, Beijing. On April 8th, I predicted to four people, including Professor Chang Zuzi, a director of Analysis Prediction Department in the State of Seismological Bureau, that there could be an earthquake of magnitude 7 or so near the Aleutian Islands in the northern Pacific Ocean on April 12, 1978. They said, "You didn't stay in your station. How did you know that?" Well, I told them that there was a very good reason these four people asked me that question and why I know the answer. It basically came from my analysis. And they said, "We'll treat you to dinner roast duck if you are right." So I said, "Yeah, of course. That sounds good to me." Chanjida, yeah. Yep, famous Chanjida roast duck restaurant in Beijing. Then they thought it over and said, "But what would you do if you were wrong?" I answered, "I will invite you for the dinner of roast duck if the earthquake doesn't occur, all right?" So at 11:31 on April 12, 1978, an earthquake of magnitude 7 occurred in Alaska around the northern Pacific Ocean. They were very surprised and said, "Even if you didn't stay in the station, you knew the earthquake, which was 6,000 kilometers away from the station, would happen. You didn't know the change of water level of the wells and the abnormal behavior of animals in that place, yet you predicted the teleseism successfully only according to your analysis. We'd like to visit your station." It was as if under those circumstances your suggestion was not paid any attention. They just said they will invite you to dinner if you are successful. That's all. It seems to be a kind of feeling like very informal. Right, but Professor Chang Zu-yi considered that it was formal. They wrote a certificate. Oh. You saw the certificate just now. Okay. Did you continue to develop your instruments and methods so that you can predict earthquakes more accurately? Well, actually, later we added two bedrock earth current recorders, an electromagnetic radiation envelope recorder, and so on and so forth. Oh, so you increased very many. Yes, we study sudden meteorological precursor of earthquakes. Recently, there are such large earthquakes. You have such good instruments and methods. Why couldn't anybody make accurate predictions in Taiwan or Los Angeles before an earthquake? Yeah, in fact, it was a pity that the project was terminated in the early 1980s. Of course, those instruments stopped running. I thought if I were able to set up a station abroad and get success, in that case my theory and methods would be able to be acknowledged in the world. Well, as you know, I had achieved remarkable success in the field of earthquake prediction at the station of Mayun Reservoir. Furthermore, my fruitful results have been published in the International Conference of the Barcelona, Spain in 1990. And since that time, my research results started to cause seismologists to actually follow it with some interest. Well, didn't you bring these instruments to America and continue to do research? Well, actually, I think everything has been in my mind. For example, the instruments, the equipment, and so on. It's not difficult to do it again. Well, I heard that the Japanese were very interested in your research, especially the former Prime Minister Yasuhiro Nakasone, who wrote you a letter and hoped to enhance cooperation between the two countries in the field of earthquake prediction. Yes, the Japanese actually sent me letters and prepared funding to invite me to establish a station. But due to some other reasons, it basically just didn't get through. Professor Liu, may I ask you a question? We talked about witnesses just now. Could we talk about scientific evidence, namely exhibits? How did you diagnose that an earthquake would be coming soon? What did you base your predictions on earthquakes on? Well, that's a good question. Actually, we talked about who proved my accurate predictions just now, but most audiences still were not impressed and didn't know how I predicted it. All the people would say was that earthquakes can't be predicted. But I said earthquake predictions may be more accurate than weather forecasts. Then I said, you had a very good question. Now let me show you the recorded figures. Is this a drawing from the instrument? Yes, this drawing has been recorded by laser phase lock stenometer, which not only can record precursors but also earthquake waves. What is it showing from the drawing? It is a precursor recorded at 10 p.m. on June 22nd, 1977. Which earthquake was concerned? It is the precursor of an earthquake in the South Pacific Ocean of magnitude 8.1. It appeared to be a long period wave. Well, let's see the next drawing. See here? That's the second precursor, which appeared at 1500 on June 22nd, 1977. The time difference between two precursors was about 5 hours. Oh, if we figure out the next cycle to add 5 hours to 15 o'clock, then I get 20 o'clock. All right, let's see the next drawing. This one shows that the earthquake happened at 20:08 on the same day. So the time difference between the actual occurrence time of the earthquake and the calculated occurrence time of the earthquake was 8 minutes. Well, I think it needed to continue working 24 hours each day regarding earthquakes. Very hard working. Oh, I think so. This is the first example, right? Let's see another example. Could you tell us which earthquake it is? This was not recorded by the laser phase lock stanometer. It's a recorded drawing from a bedrock earth current recorder. This was the first precursor of the earthquake in the Chang'an, which is a town near the city of Tangshan. Oh, the first precursor, the year was 1977. Yes, at 9